Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. I am lucky enough to be joined by Coach TJ from Bard College. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, Matt, great to see you.
Great to see you, too. We were lucky enough to meet in person, face to face at the convention in Philly. And as I always like to tell people, the college, or just the soccer community in general, it's not 6 degrees of separation. It's like 2 to 3 max. We've got a bunch of the same mutual friends, and it was nice to be able to connect in person due to those great mutual friends. Um, and I'm excited to learn about Bard College. It's not a school I'm familiar with. I mean, I know the conference and I know its academic reputation, but not
Yeah.
much else. So, but first, let's start talking about recruiting. It's the high season of college showcases and everything else like that. As a Division III school, are you still working on your 23 class, or is that pretty much locked and loaded and you're looking at 24s? What's that look like for you guys?
So I'm just kind of hand holding the 23s to bring them across the finish line. Bard is a very high academic school. Application deadline has already happened, has passed January 1st. So, even if I had right now the best academic player in the country that would want to come to Bard, it's possible to get them in, but it would be more difficult because our admissions portal's already closed. So I'm just kind of taking the 223s that we have. We have so far at this point 4 committed and another 5 that are waiting for some financial aid stuff that we're going to hear from them in the next 2 weeks, actually. But we're finishing up our 223 class, and I'm starting the 224s actually next week because right now I'm finishing up my book, as we talked about.
Yeah.
It goes to the publishers. So the 224s will start really focusing on our top 224s next week, i.e. reaching out to them, getting them on Zoom, seeing updated video where they are, if there's been some changes in their performance, to see where they are academically, to read their transcripts, because Bard is a very high academic, top-level arts college. So it's important that the transcript, first and foremost, has to meet the standards of Bard.
Well, and having said that, it's because of those high academic standards and that sort of thing. You look at your roster, you got players from all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, mostly, I'm guessing, due to that the draw of that high academic standard. So for you, how is that recruiting wise in terms of choosing what events and where to go and that kind of thing? Because you kind of have the whole country that you probably have to deal with.
I do. That's a great question, Matt. So I travel around to college showcase events. I'm not here to advertise, but Future 500 Exact Sports is the one that I do a lot of work with. I do leadership training for Exact Sports, and I've spoken at 6 of their national camps. And there's anywhere from 200 to 300 players there. And after I do a workshop on leadership, all of a sudden there's emails from top student athletes that are interested in Bard now. So I kind of throw out a big net because we're a very unique school. We're 2 hours north of New York City. Our alumni is global. We have partnerships in 50 countries around the world as well. Bard had the first human rights major in America. We do a lot of work in really the community. The school embraces students that want to change the world. They want to make the world actually a better place, and they hold true to those ethos, which is phenomenal for me to be around these young people that are idealistic and realistic, but are really changing the world in amazing ways. So yeah, so it's a national footprint of recruiting that I do as well.
So obviously it's pretty easy to get numbers in terms of GPA and test scores and all that when you're recruiting. But besides that academic kind of threshold, what is it for you in terms of the things that make up your kind of hierarchy of what you're looking for in a player?
Great. So first of all, on the character side. So let's take a step back. Once we look at video or see someone play live, and that player meets our standards on the pitch in terms of how they play. One of the things that I work on is vision training. I actually have my own company that I've done for many decades that I train players how to scan and see the field. I have licensed coaches actually in this area. So as I watch a player on the field, I'm seeing who's making consistently good decisions on and off the ball. Are they taking pictures? Do they have a high soccer IQ? So once they meet, good character person on the field, when a goal is given up, how are they responding? When they're behind, are they encouraging their players? Are they pointing fingers? I don't want any finger pointers, but I want guys that are also holding folks accountable. So we look at the character as a huge part. So once we understand and match up what they look like on the field, Matt, that they fit our criteria, then the next question is, Zoom has been a great thing, just like we're doing right here, because when you Zoom with someone, you could see them face to face, make eye contact, and really start asking questions. Is this student a fit Bard? We're 1,800 students. We're 2 hours north of New York City. Very challenging academically to get here, but the place changes your life. So I want students that are well-rounded, that not are just football playing people, soccer playing people. Obviously, that's the connection. But those that really are open to learning, to discovering, like the name of your company over here, discovering their journey and how I can help them match up with their journey. So it's a deeper connection, which is really enjoyable for me at the D3 level. I coached D1 for 20 something years. I was a head coach. And this is much more of a transformative relationship, even though at the D1 level, I was also transformative, but it's a lot of transactional because people are like, are you winning or losing? It's all about your results on the D1 level. At the D3 level, how can I help the player that I'm recruiting become the best version of themselves on the soccer field and also in life? So it's a different, a little bit different from D1. I gave you a lot over here, but
Yeah, no,
yeah.
no, I love that. Well, in terms of Bard itself, you kind of mentioned this a bit ago, and you got a few players looking to find out what those financial aid packages are like. And I'm not holding you to hard numbers here, but folks have the idea of the Northeast liberal arts colleges aren't exactly cheap to attend. So can you just give me a ballpark for, parent like me, who's maybe my daughter's thinking of going up to a school like Bard, what does it look like at a D3 level with no athletic money? How does the full financial aid picture look, and what does it look to be there?
Great question. Bard does not have any merit aid. We're one of the few schools that does not give out merit aid. So if you're a 4.0, and that's not how we measure it. We measure financial needs specifically, which was different for me when I came from a D1 school where I had money to be able to, give money to folks. The model, I actually believe in the model because one is if someone can afford to pay the full tuition fees at an expensive liberal arts college and they want to come here, then they can do that. If someone cannot, then Bard meets their needs or close to meeting their needs. So, regardless of where you are income wise, although we don't have academic or soccer scholarships, Bard does a deep dive into financial aid and does a great job. Doesn't always meet everyone's need, but does a great job meeting your need. So although the school is expensive, and schools are very expensive these days, you know that. I have two daughters that graduated from college, so I know what that's like. Bard looks at your financial aid, and that's where we're working with things. So I've got players that have gotten great packages, have committed already. Again, 4 of them, like I said. I have others that are just waiting to see, if they can work it, which they can, and also looking at other options too. So I'm giving them some opportunities to look at other schools too. So
Okay. Well, let's talk more about the school itself. You mentioned it, liberal arts college, kind of right there between New York and Albany.
mhm.
But you've been there a few years now. Can kind of give me the inside scoop? What are some of the really awesome things about Bard that maybe I'm not going to learn just by clicking through the website?
Sure. So first of all, it's one of the most beautiful campuses in America. They have those polls, top 10 most beautiful campuses. Bard is in the top 2 or 3 every year. It's a 1,000-acre campus on the Hudson River. So if you go online and you take the tour and you're like, wow, when you come to campus, you're like, oh my gosh, it's even more incredible. It's even more amazing. So it's a world-class institution and a gorgeous campus. Our faculty, we consistently have faculty that the MacArthur Genius Award, I don't know if you're familiar with the
Yeah.
MacArthur Genius Award. Bard has had over a dozen faculty that have received the MacArthur Genius Award.
Wow.
And that award, there's like 20 to 25 that are given out every year to world-class people, artists, musicians, writers. The first time I came to Bard, they had 2 of the MacArthur Award winners came from Bard, 2 of those. Princeton had 1, Stanford 1, no one else had it. So our school invests in professors that are world-class professors. That's really the differential, which I found from the other 5 colleges that I worked at that were also very good, is Bard's professors. There's very much one-on-one mentorship and helping you in your journey. And the good news is that you don't have to know what you want to do in your life. In fact, because that changes, by the way, purpose changes. So we embrace students that I'm not sure I like, maybe economics and business, but I also like psychology. I think psychology or anthropology is interesting. By the way, those 2 are connected oftentimes. So we also attract students that maybe a science and art. So it's a very interesting place where students are good at more than one thing, or interested in more than one thing. So Bard has that part. Economics, we have New York. New York City is less than 2 hours away. Our large alumni is in New York City. I'm doing a workshop, a career development office workshop for 43 students on Thursday, a leadership workshop that I do. And they're going to have, they spend a week doing resume writing, interviewing, meeting with alumni, connecting with alumni, and then going to New York City. We'll also do it in Washington, D.C., and meeting top flight alumni that are going to help them in their career. So Bard does an incredible job helping you connect for the next opportunities in your life.
Well, you did mention, the high academics and part of college soccer is also doing the schoolwork. So at a high academic institution like Bard, how do your student athletes really balance their commitments between the school and the sport, and what kind of support systems does the school offer to help them with that?
At Bard, you can get a tutor, a private tutor for every class that you take for free.
Wow.
My students do not have any. I mean, sometimes they have challenges with classes. Don't get me wrong. Let's say they don't, and we help them with that. But if they have a challenge with a class, we have a learning center, and they get a tutor, one-on-one tutor for every class they have. At Bard, we don't do any study halls. We don't have to do study halls. If someone needs help, we give them one-on-one attention to help them in their journey. So the support is incredible. We've been top 25 academically, with our GPA, how they do that, with the United Soccer Coaches. So our GPA has always been, we've received those awards about the top academic GPA in the top group of academic GPAs. So the support is there. If you come to Bard, you will succeed. You will find your journey. Unless you're not going to work hard, unless you really don't want to work hard, which is not the place for you to be here or anywhere else. Yeah.
Well, take me back to the fall, or fast forward to this coming fall, either your choice. But can you walk me through what a typical week during the season is going to look like for a player, just in terms of, when do they get up, when are classes, when are meals, practice, game cadence, that sort of thing?
Sure. So let's go in the fall. So the fall at Bard, we also have the first years come in 3 weeks before the regular student body. So as a first year, we call freshman first year, you have the run the campus. So you have 1,000-acre campus with 450 students from all over the country, and basically you develop your best friends on the soccer field and then also around campus. And then we start preseason in the middle of, it's called learning. L&T is what it's called, language and thinking. That 3 weeks basically acclimates you to college writing and the college setting. So we start preseason, which is a normal preseason like everybody has. And from preseason, what we go into our regular fall season, students have classes morning, afternoon. We train 6 to 8 every evening, so there's never a conflict with classes. We have a phenomenal field that overlooks the Hudson River. So if you go to our website, you'll see this shot of this soccer field over the Hudson River. You're like, is that a painting or is that real? No, that's not a painting. It's actually real. And we share with women's soccer. Women's lacrosse is in the spring, so there's no issues of scheduling. And what do we do? So we train 4 or 5 days a week, and we play 1 or 2 days a week, depends on the schedule. Always have a day off, naturally. And what does the training look like? We also have a strength and conditioning coach that works with us as well. So the day after a game, we do recovery, and then the following day we do strength and conditioning work, which again is a pretty standard for all programs. I think one of the differences in our training is we play a lot. We compete a lot. There's not a lot of drilling. I'm not a big believer in drills. I'm a big believer in we warm up a little bit, we touch the ball, and we might have a little bit of a functional exercise, but we get right into playing. And we do competition. We are competing. So every day you're competing to get better within the game. We're learning within the game, which is a facet of our training. I mentioned vision training to you as well. And that's something that is, I think, unique to our program, where we're training players to scan, to see the field, to play like a Messi, a Modric, Iniesta, a Julie Foudy, a Carly Lloyd on the women's side. How to get players to see the field and scan. This is something that I've been doing around the world for decades now. So we empower players to make great decisions. A little simple thing, those that are watching this video, excuse me, just to help your game, if you add 5 looks every 10 seconds when you're playing, your game can get 10 to 20% better just by adding that component. By looking 5 times, you're gathering information. You don't have to wait for people to shout on you, man on, turn, give me the ball, man, I'm open, blah, blah. That's noise. The highest levels, noise destroys flow. So we train our players already at this level to take pictures so they have that information before the ball arrives. So that's a little difference in our training, that players excel very quickly within their own ability level.
No, I love that. Well, let's talk, more about the soccer side and the team. So is there a roster size that you find is ideal that you're trying to hit every year?
24 to 28, which is small for D3. If you'll find some D3 schools are in the 30s, right?
Yeah.
Some are in the 40s. So my number is really 24 to 28. It might be a little bit bigger this year because I said I have about 5 or 6 that are really keen on board. We've been recruiting a long time, so it might be, I think it'll be high 20s the most. Yeah, so that's the roster size. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
That was the question, but the next one would be staff size. What staff do you have, and what role do they play?
So it's myself. I have an assistant coach as well, who's very, very involved and knowledgeable. And I have a strength and conditioning coach that works with us. Yeah, we have sports medicine. So we have, the normal what you would have honestly at any other college. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you talked about it a little bit just in terms of the way you guys train, but how else would you describe kind of your overall style of coaching and the team style of play?
My overall style of coaching is empowering players to make decisions, giving them the wherewithal, the skills, and believing in them, and not joystick coaching or over coaching. Okay. We start every session that we do with a circle in the middle of the field. Our culture is very strong. Right now we're reading the book called A Culture Code. This is the fourth year in a row that we're reading a book about culture, how to develop great culture. We talked about safety. We just had a meeting Wednesday. Vulnerability. Important as a leader to be vulnerable and to be safe, and to understand me as a leader that although I've been doing this for 100 years, I don't have all the answers and I have more questions. And it's important that I lean on my players to help me find solutions. So we do a grateful circle. We circle up, we start every practice, and we do shout outs. If you were with us, I'd say shout out to Matt to have me on this program. I'm so thankful that you're here and that you invited me. All right, we do that. Shout out to Bob for taking me over to get a haircut. Whatever it is, we're just little things we're grateful for, and we recognize in each other that we're thankful. So right away at the beginning of our training session, we're at a high. We're operating at a really high place, a positive place. Companies, people that work in business, education, performance, when you're in a positive state of mind, you perform at your best. So we start every session that everyone is in a great place, and then we move from there.
That's a great way to look at it, and I love that. Now I'm probably going to have you on again. Well, we'll just talk about the book when that's ready to rock and roll, because I know you and I had discussions about that. But we have covered a lot of ground, talked about a lot of different things. But I always like to end these with what haven't we talked about? What else is there? Whether it's regarding the recruitment process, Bard College, anything else college soccer related. What else would you like folks to know? And I'll give you the last word.
Sure. So I have 2 daughters that play Division one in Division III sports. My oldest was a Division I track runner. My youngest was a Division III soccer player. Both played at very high schools, great academic schools. I want you to think about this as athletes and also parents watching this. It's important that you are open to your journey and don't feel you need to have the answers to what you want to study and what you want to do in your life. Purpose changes. Purpose changes. I went to school to be a dentist because my dad wanted to be a dentist. You know what? And my dad and I realized it's my journey and not my dad's journey. So that's my suggestion to everyone is, if you don't know, don't feel like, oh, I need to say something or know what I want to do in my life. Absolutely not. Purpose changes. I know, Matt, you do several things. You do this, you do stuff within the book industry. Be open, be vulnerable, be passionate, and you'll find your way.
That's phenomenal advice, Coach. Really thank you for the time and being on here. And I do look forward to seeing the book and catching up when that comes out, and wish you the best of luck in the spring, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Well, title of the book is Eyes Up. That'll be the title. It'll be in Amazon and Barnes and Noble's December of this upcoming year. Eyes Up.
Fantastic. Sounds like I know what I'm getting for Christmas. All right. Thanks, Coach. Take care.